Well, welcome once again to the Yang Style Long Form class on PT TV. I'm happy you're joining us. Last week we had quite a lot of movements, some big movements, single whip, waving hands like clouds, and single whip. We'll look at them again. And then this week we start to move into what's called the foot kick section, where we start doing our foot kicks. And it's a really exciting section. It's sort of the real meat of this whole middle part of Tai Chi. We're going to do a lot of balance work, and I think that you'll enjoy it. In fact, I know you'll enjoy it. It's fun and it's kind of exciting, right? So, and it's quite warm in here today again, so let's turn the waist. Easy and relaxing. Turning the torso. Rolling down. Rolling up. Shake. I mean, there's nothing more important than movement, is there? You know? So we want to keep everything moving all the time. In the morning class at the studio, in a week's period, every morning is a little bit different, but in a week's period, we exercise every single muscle and joint in the body. Very important. And when we finish this long form, I think I'll start and we'll work on exercises, as just separate these out and do exercises. But right now, it's important. I really want to work through this whole Tai Chi form. I don't know if anybody has ever done it before on TV, but it's a big endeavor, and we've got a long way to go. I think we're somewhere along a third of the way through the form, something like that. Rolling down. Rolling up. Okay, Wu Chi. Feet shoulder width. Sinking the weight into the feet. Knees soft. Pelvis slightly tucked under. Top of the head lifting. Chin slightly tucked under. Shoulders and upper ribs suspended from above. Breathing in and out through the nose, directing the breath to the lower belly, what we call the dantian, lower dantian. Shokong. All right. Last week we did an exercise called circling the energy around the belt channel. If you remember, we circled like so. And this is one of the exercises of what's called the Hun Yung Gong system. Now, one of the greatest of the living teachers is a man named Master Feng, who lives in China in Beijing, and he has quite a lot of followers worldwide. And one of his main disciples, a woman by the name of Gao Fu, lives in Seattle. Madame Gao Fu is 85 years old and is one of the most wonderful people I've ever met. I cannot tell you how alive and vital and wonderful this woman is. She teaches the full Tai Chi system and is just an incredible, wonderful person. Well, we're so lucky because she's connected to our studio here. She comes over and does workshops and on Tai Chi basics and on this Hunyun Gong system. In fact, she's going to be coming sometime this summer, and I'll let you know so you can come along and meet her. She's a really wonderful person. And each Labor Day we put on a retreat. The Gilman studio sponsors what's called the Energetic Retreat out at Camp David in Lake Crescent. And it's over the Labor Day for 3 days. And everybody is welcome to come. And I'll talk more about it as we go along. But Madame Gao Fu always comes and shares and just spends the time with us. And she's, you know, if you ever get a chance to be around somebody like that, it can change your life. It is so wonderful. Anyway, so enough about that. In this Hunyun Gong system, it's what's called martial Qigong. It's Qigong to develop the martial skills and the power and strength and particularly the energy in the Dantian, into the lower belly. So let's do another one of those, another one of these. Circling, so last week we circled around on a horizontal plane around the belt channel. This week what we'll do is we'll circle up and around the major meridians that go up the back and down the front. So the energy circulates in this fashion around the body, okay? So if we put one foot forward, let's say we'll start with our left foot forward in our usual bow stance, okay? So sitting back, so the body movement is basically going to be bow and sit stance like this, okay? And now you have to imagine that you've got this little freeway of energy that runs up the back, over the top of the head, down the front, and underneath. It's basically the meeting point is at the perineum, which is you know, at the bottom of the spine. Okay, so we start back. We're going to bring the energy up the back and down the front. Sit back. So we're going to inhale, bring the energy up. Exhale, let the energy down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Now you can do this at any speed you want. It can be very slow. It can be quicker. This is what I call my television speed. So I don't want to do it too slow to bore you or too fast, just sort of a medium. So we'll say 7 times, okay? Then we'll reverse it. So come up the front and down the back. Shifting forward, up the front and down the back. Up the front and down the back. One more time. Up the front and down the back. Good. Shifting. So putting the right foot forward. Starting again, up the back, down the front. Up the back, down the front. In the beginning, it's very important to imagine this. You imagine that there's energy that comes up the back, kind of like a wave, and it comes over, and then it just sort of rushes down the front. And you imagine it. It maybe seems silly to even think about it, but just imagine it. And you know, lo and behold, after a while, you start to feel something inside. One more time. Good. Up the front, down the back. Up the front, down the back. One more time. Good. Shogung. So Shogun, we're just going to smooth out any places that got a little bit jagged. It's very easy. Feeling the energy just dropping down through the body. And down. Good. I hope that that feels good to you. I feel relaxed and energized. All right, so let's review single whip, waving hands like clouds, and then we can move into the foot kick section. All right, so we'll do it. Okay, I better start a little bit this way so I don't get into the wall. Okay, shifting back. Opening, step, and slap. Single whip, waving hands like clouds, relaxing, shifting back, leading the energy, and over. And shoulder width and parallel stance. Now we do side step. Step 1. Step 2, step 3. Then we repeat single whip. Come into center position, step straight ahead, open just like ward off, but with a whip hand, block, and strike. Good. Once again, I'll do it facing you. Shifting straight back, relax. Turning straight ahead, hand faces to the left. Make your whip. Open, just pivoting on the toe a bit. Then step, make sure you step far enough to the left to break for your energy, and slap. Cloud's hands, sinking, joining, leading. Try not to lean. Then pong to the side. Bring the foot back, shoulder width and parallel. Then, now we start counting. Join, lead, sink, step 1. Bring the foot in. Lead, step, 2, bring the foot in. Lead, step, 3. Single whip, come into center position, turning out the front toe, relaxing, rolling up the back heel. Step straight ahead. Do not narrow the stance. There's a tendency to kind of step in narrow. Try to keep a nice wide stance. And open, ponging outward, expanding. Here you're making the whip hand sideways. The whip turns downward, pivoting, relaxing into your center. Step out, straight ahead, and expand outward. Actually, both hands are expanding outward. Single whip. Yeah, that's a beautiful, beautiful movement. So I hope that you worked on this cloud's hands this week. So once you get this feeling of, the circles from your waist, there's a lot of things. In fact, one of these weeks we'll do a circling class. That's one of the things I do in the morning sometimes, is that we just, from these circles, we expand out and go in every direction, and it's really fun, and you can understand all the Tai Chi movements by circling, because everything about Tai Chi is circular. So this cloud's hands move nice, 2 easy circles. 2 easy circles. Okay, well, this week Anna's going to help me to explain the application of the next 2 movements. So when she gets herself ready, let me show you what they are, and then we'll talk about them, right? So we've just done single whip. This next movement is called high pat on horse, sinking back, pulling into Dingbo stance on toe, stepping slightly to the left, and open. That's called high pat on horse. We then come back into our center, and we kick with the toe. Stepping down in that direction, we brush the knee. Now we're going to do separation of the right foot kick. So we're going to kick with the other foot. Left foot kick. First, come into center and open. So first we're going to kick with the right foot, then we're going to kick with the left foot. Okay, so Anna, why don't you come in here and let's explain a couple of things. Okay, welcome to you. It's always nice to see. This is the only time I ever see Anna, seems like, anymore. It's on the TV show. Okay, high pat on horse is a simple movement. And so let me just show you this first before we work on the foot kick. So after single whip, she grabs my wrist. Now again, so I'm forward. What I'm going to do is retreat. And as I retreat, I'm going to twist my hand, which of course, as you notice, puts her arm in a sort of a funny position. And as that happens, she's extending, and I just knock her off. This is just a very simple way to knock her hand off, you see. I could just as easily do this. It's just like, this looks a lot like repulsed monkey, step back and repulsed monkey, doesn't it? Yeah, so, she could walk right into that. But instead, and this time I'm going to be a little nicer to her, I'm just going to knock her elbow off. So just stand there just one second. So you see, she grabs and I pull back and knock it off using the waist. Okay, that's pretty simple. Okay, now this part is going to have, this particular movement is going to have 2 parts. So first, I knock her off, but then she decides she's going to come around and punch me with the other hand, you see. So what I'm going to do is, you see, if she's coming in, I'm going to step to the side of her. At the same time, I'm going to lead her with this hand. So if she's stepping, I'm just going to step like we always do, join and lead. Okay? And by relaxing, My other hand is just going to come up and do what we call slap the ear. You see, so if we do it in this way, okay, like that. So in Tai Chi, if we're connected, our two arms are connected, and say if she were just to push on this side, you see, this hand comes up. So in this case, she's punching, and as that one side retreats, this side slaps. So that's what we call high pat on horse. And then I'm going to follow with the foot kick. So if we come back here, she grabbed me, I knock her off, she goes to punch, I step to the side, hit her. Now she's a bit extended, and she's going to kind of start to try and get out of this situation. Right? So as she goes out, I just get her hand out of the way and kick her. Here. Okay. So the whole movement of this is, it's knock off, she punches, slap, she tries to retreat, and open and kick. Okay, now let me say a couple things about kicking. This is our first kick with toe. Now this is what's called kicking with toe. Now, it's called a toe kick, not because particularly I don't kick with the toes. Of course the toes, if you kicked upward something solid with the toes, it would be easy to smash them and mash them. So if I were to kick her in some place that was solid like a bone, what I would do is pull my toes, instead of it being, I'd pull the toes slightly back, and then I would be kicking more so with the ball of the foot. So we call it a toe kick, but it's coming upward, and my toes are slightly out of the way, and I'm kicking with the ball of the foot. Crotch kicks are popular, particularly in the United States, because it doesn't take very much to cause a lot of discomfort. So when you kick the crotch, what is probably wouldn't be funny if he got kicked. We could bring Andy Lee down here. He could kick us half a dozen times while we're smiling. Okay. Anyway, so in this case, we're not going to kick with the toe particularly. We can kick with the top of the foot over here, particularly in the crotch, like so. Okay. Now in Tai Chi, most all of the kicks are designed to be done to the lower part of the body. If you see most Kung Fu movies, they do these roundhouse kicks, up to the head and things like that. Well, you'd be very vulnerable. If somehow she caught me up here, well, it doesn't take much to overcome me. So, but here, she tries to catch me. You see, she goes to defend against that, we'll see, and her head moves towards me. So that's one of the most popular things in the martial arts, is you fake kicks, or you do kick, you keep kicking down there, and it's sort of like a bee stings. It doesn't hurt a lot, but it's very kind of disconcerting. So then she tries to defend after a while, and then she opens her upper body to be attacked. So we generally kick towards the lower body. Okay, one other thing. This is what's called a snap kick. This is a very fast, not a powerful kick, but very fast. So, it's like, bam, it just comes and gets back there. Very hard for her to defend, not a lot of power, but, it can hurt a lot, and hit in the right place, it can stop her. Okay, now, so generally speaking, what we would do is what you do is you lift up the knee, and then the leg extends out and comes back. This is what's called snapping, like this. Right? Comes up and kick. I mean, pretty easy to kick her in the face even. Okay, so there's another way we do it in Tai Chi is the whole leg is straight. When you kick, the whole leg comes up straight, like that, like a football kick, like this. And this is done particularly when somebody is pressuring in on you. Say she's in close, and she's pushing me, right? So as she pushes me back, you see the leg just comes up, like so, you see, just like that. So that's these next two kicks are basically going to be doing that. All right, so I think that's it. Thanks a lot. Yeah. There's such a fine line in teaching Tai Chi between the sort of martial aspects and the sort of inner work that we do. And I have to somehow keep apologizing on some level to the students that I work with, because mostly, I mean, I would say a half of 1% people come to Tai Chi to learn a self-defense system. You know, the other 99.5 are there to, you know, for whatever reason, mostly exercise, philosophy, you know, spiritual, you know, growth. Okay, but it's my firm feeling and experience, I mean, I've worked with people for 30 years teaching Tai Chi, that we have to get the structure clear. That these forms need to be very clear and crisp. And when you understand what the martial application is, you can go about pantomiming that movement clearly. And if you don't, I say this over and over again, Tai Chi is not modern dance. It's not just random movement. It's very specific. We are pantomiming very specific movements. So I hope that it doesn't bother you too much, you know, that we talk about kicking somebody or kicking him in the crotch or any of that. God, you know, I pray to God that none of us would ever have to do anything like that. You know, that's not the idea. But it's part of the form. So, you know, hopefully if it bothers you, you can see beyond it, and then pretty soon we give up the form. You see, Tai Chi, I was just talking to somebody yesterday, and he said, well, he does this formless, he sits Zazen. Or it doesn't even do that because Zazen is too much form for him. He believes that spiritual practice has to do with no form. And he says, well, but you do Tai Chi and you have this form. It was his belief, his thought that Tai Chi was the form. Well, the form is only a very, very small part of what Tai Chi Chuan is. Tai Chi is the understanding. Tai Chi is being real. Tai Chi is being natural. Tai Chi is responding to the situation clearly, no matter what the situation is. So we want to have a calm mind and a strong body, a healthy body, so that no matter what the situation, we can deal with it. Whether it's something affecting our body or our mind or our spirit. So right now we're working with the body. Soon we'll be moving into looking more on the energetic plane. And finally we'll be moving and working to eliminate any forms of any kind and just moving spontaneously to the situation. So the forms are only help us train ourselves to be strong, to be comfortable. Yeah. And then we give them up. So you spend many years learning these forms and then you give them up. Well, but anyway, okay, so here we go. High pat on horse. So in the form, we would do it in this, we'd be doing it in this direction. We've just finished single whip. High pat on horse is not too difficult. One, we sink back, rocking back onto the heel. Two, we pull into Dingbo stance on toe. Three, we step slightly to the left. We're going to head slightly, and the foot is going to be angled about a 30-degree angle, what we call just slightly to the left of straight to that wall. Then we're going to shift our weight onto that foot. At the same time, our torso is going to be turning slightly to the right. Now, if I do this facing you here, now watch. Coming back. Now here I'm facing you straight. Now watch. Remember that the punch was coming in here, so I'm going to step a little bit to the left side of it. And as I lead the energy, even though my body is going, my torso, my hips are going straight this direction, my upper body is turning slightly. Now, the major mistake and problem is going to be, if you look at this knee, my left knee, what happens is, as you shift the weight and turn the torso, the knee has a tendency to collapse. And you see that is not good. So you have to make a concerted effort as you are coming onto this left foot to screw, what I call screw out, firm up this knee and separate your ribs from your pelvis. Okay? So, once again, I'll do it in this direction. You can see the hands. Now let's look at the hands too. Okay, so here we are at single whip. 1, you shift back, the left hand relaxes, and the right hand relaxes by your shoulder. This is our usual sort of this, we have one hand that kind of protects, like here, hand comes up here. Elbows relaxed. 2, as you pull the toe in, the left hand pulls down to the waist, twisting, and the right hand comes to the center of the body. It looks like step back and repulse monkey. 1, you shift, you're turning the torso to the right, till the nose points to the right knee. Then, as you turn the torso back to straight, you're pulling the left hand down to the waist, and the right hand comes to the center of the body. 3, as you step out, the hands stay pretty much in the same place. This only turns a little bit so that I can join with the incoming energy. Now, as I shift forward, the left hand comes up as the right hand moves on a horizontal plane with the body. So this is beautiful, I think. This movement, this is sort of the flow of the energy, like here. Okay. They're making it's interesting, that I'm making 2 opposite circles with the hands, and then it gets bigger and bigger. Okay. Watch again. 1, 2, 3, 4. At the end of the movement, the left hand is going to be pretty much in the center of the body, but the body's turned, and this would be slapping my opponent's ear. Keep the shoulders down and relaxed. One, 2, 3, 4. That's high pat on horse. 1, 2, 3, 4. And why is it called high pat on horse? Can you see here I'm patting the horse's neck? It's a nice. Good old Rasuli. Good. Okay. Next, we're going to do separation of the right foot kick. So, now watch how this follows here. High pat on horse. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. We come into center position. From here, the right hand is going to just open. The hands are going to open. Now, this kicking, this opening of the hands has quite a few reasons. Remember, I was joined with Anna's hand and I opened it. I kind of took her and I opened her and kicked her. Well, if we just went from just a regular punch, if she was just punching me in the face, I could get out of the way and block the thing with this hand and kick. The hands open like this to counterbalance the movement and expanding outwardness of the kick. So it would be like, because since I'm standing on one leg, it'd be sort of like a tightrope walker who has a stick they hold, and they walk along like this. So the two hands are up there to help counterbalance. If I only had one hand, the tendency would be, it's trickier to balance just with one hand up. Easier to balance with two hands up. So this opening here, it's a lot like we did for cross hands, like so. These first two kicks, they're called toe kicks, separation of the right foot kick, separation of the left foot kick. In both of these kicks, my body faces directly towards the opponent. So if you were the opponent there, my body would be facing directly to you as I kick. The next kick after the right and left is what we call a kick with sole, and it's done to the side. It's done kicking downward with the side of the body. Now most of the kicks, I would say, well maybe half the kicks, are done from the side, with the side of the body. These two kicks, the hands are facing directly to the direction you're headed, and everything is facing the opponent. In this case, these two kicks are going to be going to the corners of the room. Assuming this is the direction we started, and now we've worked our way and we're doing single whip here. The first kick goes into this corner. The next kick is going to go into the other corner. And then we're going to do something else, okay? So you want the body to be facing directly to, and the hands directly to where you're going, okay? So keep all those things in mind. There's a lot of things to keep in mind, and what the heck? Keep our mind active. Okay, now watch again. Or do it. Actually, I think we can probably do this. High pat on horse. Sink back. Brush the hand. Step out. Neutralize, lead, and slap. Come to center. From here, it's the right hand is basically going to be doing most of the work. It starts to open, roll up on your toe, lift the foot up, kick outward and back. And then we're going to step down in that same direction and brush the knee. Just like our other brush knees, we're going to brush the knee. Okay, again, I'll do it facing you. High pat on horse, sink, turn to the right, relax. Pull in, coming straight ahead. Step slightly and body opens a little bit to the left. Circle, lead to the right. My body is actually facing the corner. Circle back. The torso turns back until the nose basically faces the left knee again. Actually, my body's headed there. My attention is a little bit to the right. Then we're going to open. You can actually bring the foot in underneath you for balance. Lift up and kick. Now remember I said that you can kick straight or you can lift and snap. The kicking straight is actually an easier kick to do. So if you're having any balance problems, it's easier to bring the foot in and just, it doesn't have to be any more than that. Okay? We want to be working on balance. So if you're having at all any balance problems, just a little, then you can work on, doing more and more. Okay? In any case, now, see, I have limitations. I'm an older man. And these younger people, Rose Jr. and all of these other ones, they should and could be able to kick straight up. And some of the martial artists, Andy Lee and all those other guys, can kick. When they do this, they can kick so the leg comes all the way up. Well, you've got to be training to do that from a fairly young age. And I just sort of never got into doing it that way. But in any case, you want to kick so that you're comfortable. You want to stretch out and either kick out with your toe, with the ball, with the whole foot. Easy. Okay, you have quite a few options there. All right, so here we go again. I'll do it from the back. High pat on horse. 1, 2, 3, 4. Separation of the right foot kick. 1, 2, 3. Now this is a transition. We step towards the corner and brush the knee. Okay. Again. High pat on horse. 1, 2, 3, 4. Separation of the right foot kick. Center. Open. Up. Kick. Bring the foot back. Step down towards the corner. Brush. Okay, the next movement is the following brush knee. So I've kicked with my right foot, and I'm going to kick with the left. And we're going to do the same kind of high pat on horse movement, all right? So now watch here again. I'll do it facing straight ahead. Okay, now this time Anna's going to be punching over on this side. So I neutralize, slap, come center, and open, kick to this corner, and back. So it's the same bit, same things, the neutralize, slap, open, and kick. So those are both the same, all right? And now the only thing that's a little different in this, now if I'm doing this, if I were to, now this is all happening in this direction. I'll do it facing you so you can see the foot. Now let's look again here. 1, you shift back. 2, you pull into dingbo and toe. 3, you step out slightly to the left, shift the weight. That's high pat. Separation is you come in, you can pull in, I pull in a little bit this foot. Now you can kick from back here where this right foot is, or you can pull it in a little underneath you. Then you're going to lift up, kick 45. When you step down, step a little bit to the right. Again, as always, to open up your stance to what we call a 45-degree angle, the corner. We brush the knee. Now, look at this right foot here. As I neutralize and go to slap, the right foot pivots in to face straight, what we call 90, or straight towards the wall. The foot places down. We then come back to center and kick toward the corner. Now that little turn in just makes it easier to balance. It makes it so that the back foot is now this will be at a 45-degree angle to the direction that I'm headed. Anytime, remember, anytime the back foot gets out more than 45-degree angle to the direction you're going to be going, it becomes uncomfortable and harder to balance. If this foot was at a right angle and I tried to kick this way, it's challenging and tricky. It's hard. My hips don't want to open this much. But if this is at a 45-degree angle, then I can kick more easily and feel more comfortable. Okay? So when we're doing this after the first kick and brush knee, we just pivot this into straight, just a little bit, and then we come back and we can comfortably kick into the new direction. All right? So some things to think about. Now, all these things, don't forget, are on the web. All these directions and stuff are more specific. They're on the web at the website in the online classes. So look towards that. All right. Okay, here we go. High pat on horse. Separation of the right foot kick. It's not, if you don't, if you lose your attention at all, it's easy to lose your balance. Then brush, kick. Okay, then separation of the left foot kick. Neutralize, turn in the toe, and slap. Come back to center. Open towards your new direction, and kick. Okay. All right. Now, the next movement is probably one of the most challenging movements in the entire form. Want to see it? Okay. Actually, we can make it easier. So, now watch. After the left foot kick, we're going to turn and left foot kick with sole. Then we're going to do left brush knee once again. Now this turn is a little tricky, as you could well imagine. You know, that you're turning and keeping your weight and balance up. It's a little bit trickier on the carpeting. So not too many people do this when they're doing demonstrations, clearly. It's because it's difficult to do it and keep your balance and all that. So what most everybody does, and the way I teach it, that you can do it like this. Now watch. After you've kicked, put the foot behind you and just turn your body. You then open and kick downward with sole. Now we didn't talk about sole kick, and but I think we can work on this and then work on it again next week. Now, as I said before, we have the snap kick. This is very fast, not that much power. The sole kick, what we call kick with the heel or kick with the sole, is much stronger kind of kick. It's a very, very powerful kick because the whole body gets behind it. With the toe kick, all I have really is this snapping energy of the knee. You can see that there's not much behind it. Whereas the sole kick, what's going to happen is I'm going to bring the whole leg up and then kick downward so that the energy of my whole body comes in and presses down. So like if, for instance, if you wanted to break down a door or something, you know, there's fire and you got to break down the door, you'd want to do the sole kick. Certainly you wouldn't try and kick the door with your toe. You'd want to get up and you kind of, you know, you really want to put your body behind it. So this turn, we're going to, as I said before, the first two kicks, your body is facing straight. Now this time, your body is going to be facing to the side. Your hip is slightly open and you're going to kick downward with sole. Now you can kick straight down, this is fine down here like this, or anywhere out you want. Okay, that's what's called a sole kick. So it takes some practice, and that's what we're learning the form for. You know, I've seen countless people, you know, come in with balance issues, and then through the years practicing these kicks and stuff, and now they can do the kicks, and then you know, that really helps. Okay, so now watch or practice. You can go along with it, and watch how we put this all together here. High pat on horse. Separation of the right foot kick. And problem with that. Brush the knee. Left foot kick. Turn, put the foot down. Pivot in the toe to 90. Open, kick downward with sole. Now, the foot movement here, the direction that, so we started out and we call this north. So this would be west. So I'm going to end up kicking to the east with this foot. See, it's a little bit tricky here, but we're going to end up kicking behind us, right? So high pat on horse, we're kicking to the corner. We're kicking to the corner. We're going to turn. The right foot pivots in to face south, or the opposite direction of where we started. The left foot opens up to face in the new direction, which would be east. The legs are at a right angle, and we kick with sole. Now, I just said that the back foot should be at a 45-degree angle to the direction that you're headed. But you see, since I'm kicking with the side of my body is actually facing this way, so this is fine. This angle, this foot is actually at a 45-degree angle to where my body is headed, but I'm kicking down to the side. I know that's a little complicated, and then we step and do left brush knee. Okay, so let's go again let's do it in this direction. High pat on horse. Separation of the right foot kick. Separation of the left foot kick. Turn. Left foot kick with sole. Left brush knee. Okay. Again. High pattern horse. Separation of the right foot kick. Brush the knee. Separation of the left foot kick. Turn. Hands come into center. They then open, kick downward with sole, brush the knee. Okay, there's a lot going on here, a lot going on. So work on this, as best you can. Come to the park on Saturday, down to Chetzemoka, and join in with us. And then look at the web. You'll see it explained quite clearly there. And other than that, we'll put a concerted effort. Like in the classes, we spend like 3 or 4 weeks easy on these movements. So I think next week we'll spend a little more time on just this little section in here. Okay? And so I wish you a lot of luck, and call me if you have any problems, stop me, and good luck. So I'll go from high pattern horse, and then I'll see you later.